Hello again, guys. Welcome back to Charlie's House Call Auto Repair. Today we've got a 2012 Subaru Outback wagon with a power steering leak. You know, this started out just looking for a simple little leak, and then we ran into a problem way down in here where we got a coupler right here off of the power steering lines. These lines right here are replaceable, but this right down here where the actual crack is, let's see, I can't even get my hand in a position where you can see what I'm doing. Let's see, right below this fitting, right into that bracket, there's a crack in the line. Let's see if I can get you some light down there. So they're gonna have to pull the steering rack out of this car, and I just spent I don't know how long online trying to see what I could find for information on this, and there's virtually almost nothing out there for the Generation 4 Subaru. So apparently this steering rack sits in a C channel underneath the engine. It's down there, and it's, you know, really super hard to see stuff down there. Let's see, play around with the light a little bit here, but that's where the leak is, and that line that's down there is part of the rack and non-replaceable. So when all said and done, we're probably gonna have to replace this line because that's gonna break. We're gonna have to take the steering rack out, which means we have to drop the subframe, and in order to drop the subframe we have to find a way to support the motor. So we're gonna go out and pick up an engine support and see what we can do. $58 3/4 inches. $58 3/4 inches. That's where we're going to cut that beam. So what I gather from the information that I have collected is that we're going to be jacking the vehicle up. We're going to lower the subframe, and in order to be able to lower the subframe, we've got to disconnect the exhaust system from the engine. That'll give us the clearance to drop the subframe down. We're using a 4x4 and some cable ties to the old engine mounts to hold the motor up while we're doing this. So let's get underneath here and get stuff unbolted. Do not use the suspenders for support. They're not strong enough. Put a 4x4 across the top of the strut top, or strut mount tower, and then we'll got the 4x4 across the top of those, 2x4 over here supporting it against the strut tower. But we might not even have to do that. I'm really jumping the gun because I'm really just winging it on this. I have never done a steering rack on a car that's set up quite in the manner that this one is. But what I have noticed in the process is, as I'm tearing things down, I'm finding things like really torn up bushings. So these control arms need to be replaced. But there are two bolts up in here to go up into the frame, two right here to go to the subframe, and two back there that go to the subframe. My thought is, if I leave this intact, I can let this be supporting the motor. I don't have to worry about holding the motor up, and I can just disconnect the front motor mount, which I'll show you guys in a moment, and then I can lower the subframe down just enough to get this in and out through here. That's my thought. If I'm wrong, well, we've got the beam in place. I can take this out and do whatever I need to do, but let's just see how it goes. Because like I said, I've never seen this done before. I can't find the information on YouTube or anywhere else anywhere. But that mount right there, this one, is the only one we probably will have to disconnect. Even though I've already got the one over here out for inspection purposes. Okay, so underneath here, we're going to have to remove this entire panel. We've got a plastic clip here, here, another one here, a series of them across here, a couple back here. We've got a threaded fastener here and here, So let's get in here and start getting these popped out. Now remember, these are just push tacks. You lift the little part out and it unlocks the bottom. Oh, this thing's dripping all over my cardboard. Yeah, somebody's been here and already broke all of them. Now let's get these two out of here. 12 millimeter. Now you're going to want to loosen up that front bolt. Same thing on the other side. And then back here, we're also going to take this one right here out completely. Do this, hold the camera at the same time. There we go, sort of. All right, we're going to take that one right out. Come on, get on there. Okay, same thing on the other side. Take that out completely. And then we're going to take this one out, but about halfway maybe, just loosen this one up, because we don't want this side of the rack drop, or the subframe dropping. We want to drop the front of the subframe. So we're just going to loosen this up, take this out completely, so, or loosen this up too, so we don't bend this. And then we'll lower the subframe down. We're going to have to disconnect the front motor mount. So what we've got to do now is get these 14 millimeter bolts out right here. That one and that one. Got one up on the top over here, one on the top over here. We're going to have to do with a wrench. Once we've got those out, then we can lower the subframe down. Do that on both sides. Chances are good we're actually not going to be needing to utilize the 4x4. We've already got all the bolts loose in the back, out in the front. Get that motor mount and these C-channel bolts out of here. Oh, I'm not going to get on that. Okay, manual wrench time. Alright, so now we've got that one there done. Disconnected, hung down. We got the rack all disconnected, well, the frame disconnected up in here. The rack is disconnected. This is where our death bolt goes. So we're all dropped down. We've got the power steering hoses to do, and to lower this rack, or this subframe, the rest of the way down and out of the car. There are no fasteners left holding it in. We've got to get this very rusty ball joint unhooked on each side, and then the hoses, and out it comes, and we'll be back tomorrow in the daylight to finish this up. Well, we're back at it again today. This is where we left off last night when it got too dark for the camera to work. We've got the subframe completely lowered down in the front and in the rear. We've got the exhaust system dropped down also, so that we can get a little bit more movement on the rack. And now we've got bolt right there, bolt right there. Yeah, that one right there, and another one up on the top underneath these lines. And then there's two up on the other end, and then this rack should be free. The hoses are already removed and just kind of hanging freely here. So we'll tuck those down and under. The owner has also opted to have the lower control arms replaced, as the bushings on both are completely destroyed. But this is probably why you don't see this particular model on the YouTube at all, because this thing is a royal pain to work on. But I figured I could not find any information online about this job, so I'm doing the best that I can to give you guys an insight of what's involved. And again, I have never done this particular model before, so I had no idea what was involved. Could not find a good source of information. So I hope that you guys will not only find this helpful, informational, and somewhat entertaining, but I also hope that it'll earn your subscription. That will really help me in the long run to acquire more tools and acquire more jobs, more abilities. So let's get to getting this rack out of here. Well, we gotta find a socket that fits that. Okay, that one's a 14. That one's a 14. Once upon a time this was a 14. Oh, maybe not. That one's a 14. So what the heck is this? Is that seriously a 15? Yeah, that seriously is a 15. Well, not a 15. Was a 14. Okay. Oh, I hate this wrench. There we go. Alright, maybe one more rack hold down bolt. And we got one bolt left over here, the front edge. Last bolt on this side, we have two more on the other side to do. Getting a bolt here on the back of the rack. And it's not a lot of room to work with in here, but that's why we have to drop the subframe. Otherwise, we'd never be able to get it out of here. So, unlike the other Subarus where this is sitting right in front of the subframe, this one's right cradled in the middle of the subframe in a C channel. There is no way around dropping the subframe to get this rack out. There's one. There's that one. One left, and that one's in the front. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see much. It's right down below these lines right in here. And I have almost no room to move. I'll try to go over the rack. Now, will over the rack work? Maybe. All right, well, that one doesn't want to budge. Breaker bar time. Now, if you want to drop the exhaust system completely, detach it and take that out, then you can remove the subframe completely. But it's still up in the car right now only because we don't want to disconnect the rest of the exhaust system. Now, find an angle that will work. Probably not going to be able to. This is going to absolutely stink. Oh, this stinks. Let's try from here. Alright. That's not within the range. So we'll have to turn this 90 degrees. Try again. Okay, now we're on it. That sounded like it broke loose good. So now I can get back in there with the ratchet. This is the last bolt. And get these out of the way so we don't lose them. Now, get interrupted by the phone. Hello? I just removed the last bolt from the rack. I'm about ready to lift it out of the car. I did not ask. It completely slipped my mind. I believe Advanced had them in stock, but I'm not sure. But I think O'Reilly's might have them. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, that's it for now. I mean, if you want to do the control arms, if they've got those, I can do them all at the same time. The control arms I haven't done yet because I was just getting the last bolt out of the rack. Gotcha. Okay. Bye-bye. Yeah, he's hunting down the control arms, make sure that the place that he's getting the rack from has them. Let's see. Well, we're completely unhooked now. Which side do we need to go out? We need to go out that side. So I'm going to take these hoses that are up here. Oh, wow, that's going to be tricky. That's definitely going to be tricky because I don't want to try detaching those lines until I get them out of the car. If that's at all possible. I need to bring all of this line down anyways. It's all down there now. There's our power steering lines. see what happens. Oh joy. Does this mean we need more drop? Let's get one more bolt out of the exhaust, lower the exhaust down some more. I can disconnect both of the lower ball joints and then lower the subframe down a little bit more. As it stands, there's not quite enough room to get the steering rack up and over the C channel that it's sitting in, so we're going to try getting the exhaust hanger bolt at the transmission unhooked, and maybe that'll buy us a little bit more room with the subframe. Exhaust hanger bolt is out. And because I didn't realize this earlier, I had to push the subframe all the way back up. Make sure you disconnect the oxygen sensors and the wire retainer or holder so that you don't stress and break your oxygen sensor wires. But this part right here that holds the exhaust system up in this bracket, it goes down through and hooks right here. Make sure to do this before lowering the subframe down and disconnecting the exhaust. This here hooks, so lift up on the exhaust, push this back, and then lower this down. Now we're going to lower the entire subframe back down and get this rack out of here once and for all. Here goes nothing. Jack stand, good. Okay, cool. Oh, and gonna be sweet. Now it doesn't want to drop down in the back. There we go. There we go. Now she's coming down. Let's move the exhaust system back over where we're not going to drop the subframe on it. Just a little late for that, I guess. Alright, exhaust system's on the ground. The only thing holding the subframe in now is the lower ball joints on each side. That's it. And on that note, I'm going to take the subframe completely out from underneath the car because it's going to make working on that rack and installing the new rack all that much easier. We're winging it. So let's get this lower ball joints undone. They're already loosened up. We'll bring this back up a bit, make it a little easier to get the ball joints undone. Alright, so there's one ball joint. Whoop, that was easy. Now let's go do the other one. Make sure we don't break an oxygen sensor getting this thing out of here. Free. subframes out of the car. Well, that was easy. As far as the sizes of these, I couldn't even begin to tell you because nothing seems to want to fit. I've got an 18mm on the top nut, which is part of the line. It's a permanent part, it doesn't turn. And I'm using vice grips on the bottom because I can't get anything to fit on. A 16 won't fit, 17's too sloppy. Same thing over on this one. So what I'm doing is just breaking them loose. This rack's going in for core anyways. Right here is where it broke. Let's see that. Got this completely broken off. So now we got to get this one bolt out of here. Hopefully we can get that one out without breaking it. Out nice and easy. Let's get this the rest of the way out of here so we can save this line. And we got O-ring in there also. We're going to need new O-rings. Hopefully the new O-rings come with the rack. There we go. This is why we got to replace these O-rings, is because if you look real carefully at these, they're no longer round, so these have to be replaced. Now remember that when you're getting your new rack, it does not come with the outer tie rod ends on it, so you need to remove your older tie rod ends, save the nuts. These tie rod ends are shot, this one's stuck, this one here is dry and floppy, so we're going to be replacing those also. Your tie-down brackets that are on here are a little bit tricky to get them through here, but you need to save these because these need to be put down on top of the new rack. Same thing with this one right here. This whole assembly needs to be saved to go down on your new rack. This rack is now ready to go back to the auto parts store. So we'll be back in what's going to be to you a couple of seconds, to me a few minutes. I'm going to go get the new rack. And a special thanks and shout out to Brattleboro Subaru for having the correct part in stock that's needed for the rack. Dealer only item apparently. And it does have the O-rings already on it, I double checked. It's the only way to get the bracket apparently, so yeah.